Back to the daily grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
This time on the UFC, Dana White's called out by the UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley, who was pissed off when Dana White said that Tyron Woodley was full of shit. Now, I'm gonna stop using my Dragon Ball Z entrance voice. This time on Dragon Ball Z, the UFC. Alright, you guys get it. But with that being said, that's what this reminds me of, bro. These sagas. This is like, this is the Tyron Woodley versus Dana White saga and shit, bro. Tyron Woodley and Dana White, like, they're going at each other. Dana White's calling out Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, responds, and Tyron Woodley's always got some good shit to say, because I hate to break it to you guys, Tyron Woodley's right with a lot of the shit he says. But it doesn't matter, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Tyron Woodley, a lot of the shit he says, very articulate, very informative. He gives you examples. He's got the proof. Look, back when this was going on, okay, so whenever everybody else is doing it, it's okay that it's a circus. This guy can come out from 4 years and fight this guy in a different weight class. Conor can do this. Nick can get suspended, come back and fight GSP or, Carlos Condit, then Anderson. So, like, there's a lot of circus shit going on, but whenever I say I want a big fight, no, let's go back to the old rubric. Like, we all know this is the ultimate fighting circus at this point, and it's the biggest fights possible. People want money fights, people want legacy fights, people want champion versus champion fights, and a lot of the fans, hardcore fans mostly, wanted to go back to a professional sport, like the NBA or the NFL or the NHL or any of these other sports where it's the best versus the best. You don't just see, the Warriors in the finals just because they're the most popular team. It's because they're the best team. So that's why whenever you see, like a George St. Pierre come back from 4 years and not have to fight top contenders, or when you see a Cody Garbrandt, skip the top 5, TJ Dillashaw gets skipped multiple times, the #1 contenders get skipped in every other division. And if you think about this, another point Tyron Woodley brought up, he's the only champion that has been consistently defending versus the #1 contender, aside from Stipe Miocic, who fought Alistair, and he won from Fabricio, then he fought Alistair. He's been fighting the #1 contenders, and Tyron Woodley, he fought Wonderboy twice. He probably only should have had to fight him once. If that was any other champion, you know what I'm saying? Any other champion, if it would have been that close of a fight, they might not have had to do the immediate rematch. Now, it was a draw, that's the only thing, but honestly, that wasn't much of a draw, but it was a fucking draw. So he fought him again, beat him again. Still, I'll fight GSP. How about I go up and fight Bisping? How about you fight Damian Maia? Then he gets his shoulder fucked up in the Damian Maia fight, and everyone says how boring the performance was. No one highlights the takedown defense. No one highlights the shoulder injury. But some of the other fighters, if a fighter, breaks her arm in the first round, or breaks her leg, or breaks his leg in the first round, people say, oh, he won on one leg, or how much of a warrior this person is. They fought with an injury. Tyron Woodley's just pointing out, like, none of that shit happens for me. And it's true. But, there's not really much Tyron Woodley can do about that, because this is a business. The UFC is not the business of Tyron Woodley. Yes, Tyron Woodley, they do have a hell of a fucking champion in Tyron Woodley. But think about this. He's already, like 35 years old? If the UFC put everything into Tyron Woodley, he's only going to be here in the sport. But he could still be a hell of a representative from the sport. I'm trying to give the UFC outs for why, Tyron Woodley doesn't get, why they might not do it as a business. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be because, his age. They don't want to put all of that into a guy that's going to be retiring maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. So, but then you can say, well, Tyron Woodley, he's going to be a commentator for the sport. However successful Tyron Woodley becomes outside of the sport, it's going to look good for the organization. If Tyron Woodley retired tomorrow and got a starring role in the next fucking, I don't know, Tupac movie, or, because he was in NWA, so, or any movie. Let's say he got a starring role in the next Will Smith movie. I don't know why I'm going with all this black shit. But you know what I'm saying? Let's just say Tyron Woodley got a starring role in Hollywood. He would still be known as the UFC champion. That still seems like, as long as Tyron Woodley doesn't make the sport look bad, it's fine. If you know what I'm saying. Conor McGregor's transcended the sport. I don't know. Tyron Woodley sort of has transcended the sport himself, though. He's doing TMZ now, even though he gets somewhat of a bad rap. It's still a hell of a good look, man. He's getting new fans, picking up new fans, doing what he has to do. He's fucking hustling. Yeah, you might get a bad rap for being on TMZ by some of the, you know, alpha. Oh, he's on TMZ. Haha, fucking Tyron Woodley, fucking bitch boy. You know, all the fucking haters. You're always going to have your haters, but he's still out here grinding. He's doing his champ camp. So I'm a supporter of Tyron Woodley, and I see what he's doing, and I do believe he's right in a lot of the things he says, but at the same time, it is what it is. You can't make Dana White love you or the UFC. Whoever doesn't fuck with Tyron Woodley that much, whoever, I don't even know, it's not just the UFC, bro, it's people. People, I guess some just don't like Tyron Woodley. Man, I'm fucking done trying to figure it out. It really ain't that important, but I will say this. Tyron Woodley is one of the best welterweight champions ever, if not the best. But LeBron James is one of the best basketball players, if not the best. He still always is going to have some haters. It doesn't matter if LeBron James goes 40, 10, and 10. You turn on the news and Skip Bayless is going to be talking some shit. There's going to be somebody hating. There's always going to be people that hate on Tyron Woodley no matter who he defends his belt against. They're going to find something. You knock out Robbie Lawler, they're going to say he was a shell of himself. You beat Wonderboy twice, they're going to say it was boring. You tell them one of them was fight of the night, they're going to say your Damian Maia fight was boring. You tell them his shoulder was injured, they'll tell you you're a complainer. You tell them I'm not complaining, I'm telling the truth, they'll say yeah, but you're black. No, I'm just saying, bro, they're going to keep moving the goalposts. So there's some of us, I know, I see it. Tyron Woodley, I fucking, you know, he's a dope champion, but at the same time, this is the UFC. They're a business, not in it. They don't. Tyron Woodley, you know, the fighters, they don't have any unions or any fucking shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The Ali Act to where those protections to so you can complain all you want, but until fighters have those protections, all you're doing is going against the grain. You know, you're going against your boss. And that's usually not a good idea when you're going against your boss. Now, that's the difference. Because Tyron Woodley himself compared it to the other sports. In the NBA, it's not like just a boss. If LeBron James says something against Adam Silver can't really, or whoever the NBA guy is, he can't really punish LeBron too much for that. It's a public company. They've got the union that'll fight for LeBron and all of these people. Tyron Woodley doesn't have that. So unfortunately for Tyron Woodley, he might be right in a lot of the things he says, but he's still putting himself at risk. You can be the champion. You can be all of these things. You can be intelligent. You can be articulate. You can be popular, but you still have a boss at the end of the day until fighters get these protections and shit. So with that being said, I've said enough on this video. Tyron Woodley, I really do suggest you guys go listen to his entire interview with Ariel Helwani, because if you're a Tyron Woodley hater, of course you're going to find something to say, but anybody that's on the fence, Tyron Woodley's going to convince you. No, the Nate Diaz fight was real. You know what I'm saying? Not it was real, but it was talked about. Ask Nate Diaz if he was ever offered the fight. He came out and said it makes the most sense. Give Dana White a lie detector and ask him if I was ever offered a Nate Diaz fight. You know what I'm saying? That's not bullshit. Why would I, who about to get just got a shoulder surgery, why would I bring up a fucking lightweight if it was never offered to me? I didn't get the GSP fight. I didn't get the Bisping fight. I never got none of the money fights I asked for, but I think they're gonna let me fight Nate Diaz, who might be waiting on a Conor trilogy. You know, if Nate's gonna come back and fight anybody that's not Conor, why would Tyron Woodley even think he was going to get that opportunity? You know, no one's going to want that unless the UFC makes that shit happen. None of the fans are asking for that. That's some shit that the UFC would have to put together and the fighters would have to agree on. So with that being said, Tyron Woodley makes a lot of good points, but at the same time, it is what it is, dog. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out. Oh, and P.S. another thing Tyron Woodley did say, he's got to start being unprofessional and cutting up if he wants to get these opportunities. Real quick, I want to point out, he pointed out Kelvin Gastelum. He said, I broke my foot first round in the Kelvin Gastelum fight. He was, you know, everyone picked him to beat me. He came in 10 pounds overweight, and he got rewarded for losing that fight with the Ultimate Fighter opportunity. Nick Diaz, you know, these people flipping people off, not showing up late to press conferences, you know, getting suspended. Now they get to fight the legend of the sport, the GSPs and the Anderson Silvas and the Carlos Condits. You know, so maybe I need to start cutting up like these dudes. You know, we all know Conor McGregor's jumped in the Bellator ring. We all know all the stuff Conor's done. But a lot of the biggest stars in the UFC, have done stuff you would think might piss the UFC off, and they might be getting rewarded for it. So Tyron Woodley's like, shit, whenever I'm being a company man and saying yes, I've never turned down a fight. You know, both the Wonder Boy fights, the Damian Maia fight, I've never been offered RDA yet. I haven't turned down any fight from the UFC. But maybe I need to stop being a company man, because it's like he's getting portrayed as the one that's difficult to work with, essentially, and he's the one that's saying yes to the fight. So I mean, a lot of good stuff in the interview. I really suggest you go listen to. I mean, the MMA hour it's a 4-hour show, but at least the Tyron Woodley portion, he said a lot of good shit in there. So yeah, I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOWG.